see what we got here. Ooh-wee. What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for being with me tonight. Oh, my goodness. It gets deeper and deeper and deeper with the insanity. You can't make this stuff up. Really, you really can't. I mean, you really can't make this stuff up. I mean, seriously, you really can't make it up. I mean, it just happens to be happening, and you can't make it up. I mean, come on. Okay. You know what? I'll be honest with you. I was thinking about maybe I'll just chill for the evening, but I mean, I can't. You know, I can't. It's just too much going on. It's so much happening. And I'm like, this is not reality any longer, right? It's not reality. It's like insane in the membrane. And what you see's got no brain. I mean, come on. It's like, I mean, you know what? Joe is becoming the gift that keeps giving, right? It's really not funny. It's really not funny. We need to put prayers out to Joe Biden. We need prayers for Joe Biden. I mean, seriously, I put scripture for everyone. I mean, seriously, because it's not really a good thing. I mean, it's funny because of the way they are. But we need to put prayers for Joe. I mean, seriously, Joe right now, he needs a lot of prayers. And the reason why I say that, because they're done with Joe. They are 100% done with Joe. Okay, before I share this with you, how can they not be done with him? You can't tell me that the federal government and other agencies haven't, hid information that was so pressing. I mean, just hid the information that was so pressing before and was very damaging. And and you know what? Most of it we'll never see the light of day. Well, let me give you a prime example. JFK. They just released documents not too long ago because everybody that was involved is now dead and gone. So they released the documents about the CIA actually killing JFK. Tucker Carlson was talking about it. So you mean to tell me that they could not keep this under wraps? They kept something like JFK. Now, everybody had their suspicions, right? And everyone kept saying they were being called conspiracy theorists if they talk about the government involvement in JFK's assassination. They said it was conspiracy theory. But now all of that was true. It's like a conveyor belt. It's coming through as conspiracy, stamp it, truth. Conspiracy, stamp it, truth. And it's like a conveyor belt. Joe Biden, they knew about these documents back in November 2nd of last year. They knew about the documents. They said nothing about the documents. And then when it finally came out just the other day, then the second day documents came out. And then today, another batch of documents. And I'm glad, you know what? And it's really interesting because I'm hearing the media, at least Fox News, they were asking, well, what is a batch? How many is a batch? And I've been asking that same question because originally they were all saying, well, this is less than a dozen. It's less than a dozen. It's only 10 documents, people. It's really not that big of a deal. All of the liberal media was saying that. It's less than 10 documents. It's less than 10 documents. Less than 10 documents. Less than 10 documents. Or less than a dozen. They were saying it's 10 documents, right? And then the next day, a batch came out. They didn't give a number on the batch of documents. They said it was just a batch. And then today, have they even said how many documents was today? Because it was in his garage. Have they said how many batches or how many documents today? I haven't heard. Maybe you have heard. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think or what you've heard. I want to know what you've heard. But this is so bizarre. And the reason why I say we need to have, the reason why I say Joe's in trouble, Joe basically is in trouble. He's in trouble. And you mean to tell me that they hid the information about JFK for all of these years and they can't hide this? They're not hiding this. And the reason why they're not hiding this is just my personal opinion, because I'm not there. Who's ever's behind this? My personal opinion is that they're done with Joe. And they are going to push him out because rumor has it that he was going to announce his presidential run for 2024 this week. This week, he was going to announce it this week, but that got to push on a back burner. He's not saying anything about that right now because he's talking about these docs. If they can keep JFK under the wraps for all of these years, right? Why didn't they keep Biden's docs classification under the wraps? Hear me out. Why couldn't they keep him under the wraps? Now, I'm glad that they didn't. But my question is why did they not? Because they want to remove Joe. Because everybody involved, to my understanding from what they've been reporting, everybody involved in Joe Biden releasing these docs were personally connected to Joe Biden. Do you hear what I'm telling you? They're personally connected with Joe Biden. First his lawyers and then his aides. I don't even know what it is today. Who it was today that found documents in his garage. Who was it today? Was it more aides? Maybe you heard. I haven't heard it. I apologize. I haven't heard it. So I can't tell you. Really doesn't matter. The point is that people that don't have the authority or don't have the classification rights to read these docs and see these docs, they're seeing them. Somebody has to open it up. Like, someone has to open it up. Boom. Someone has to open it up and say, oh, this is a top security document. We can't be looking at this one. Well, let's look at the other ones. Do we have any more? I'm keeping, here's another one. Oh, here's another top secret document. Can we look at these? I don't know if we should be really looking at these top secret documents. Well, we need to make sure that, these are what we think they are before we, report on them. Oh, here's another one. Should we be telling anybody about these top secret documents that we're finding in Joe Biden's possession? Various parts of the country, right? Different places. It's not all in one spot like Mar-a-Lago. It's all over the place. Another question I have is, where's Obama? Can we get a statement from Obama? Because this happened under Obama's regime, his tenure. This happened under him. So can we get a statement from Obama? Someone please get a statement from Obama. I want to hear what Obama has to say about all of this. But you know what? Prayers for Biden. Prayers for Biden. We need prayers for Biden because this is not good. This is not good because, ultimately, we already know how crazy Joe is. Joe is really crazy. We already know this. We've already established that. He has established it for us. There's no doubt about it. The scary thing is that if he steps down, right, he said, okay, I'm going to step down. It's just too much. Or if they remove Joe, what in the world is next? Can y'all think about this? Just think 1 second. Now, I'm not saying that, Kamala Harris has anything to do with this. I'm not saying that at all. But we cannot rule it out. I'm just saying we can't rule it out. And the reason why we can't rule it out because it's Joe Biden's people releasing this information. They kept JFK under the wraps, but they can't keep this under the wraps. It's his own people that's telling everybody what he has done. It's his own people. Okay, so let's get to it. Here's today. Apparently, this is today because Peter Doocy, man, you gotta love Peter Doocy. Peter Doocy, I mean, he's like in the right spot at the right time. I wish I could hang out with Peter Doocy. I really do. I mean, it's awesome. And all I want to do is record him talking to Joe. Here's one right here for everybody to see. For those of you who haven't seen this, look at what Peter Doocy's asking Joe Biden at this press conference about. I guess they're calling it now GarageGate.
Mr. President, thank you, Mr. President. Okay. Classified material next to your Corvette. What were you thinking?
And look at his face. Look at his face. What were you thinking? And now the excuse that he gives is priceless. It's priceless. I mean, come on. Look, prayers for Joe. I mean, come on. The excuse he gives is priceless.
Let me, I'm going to get a chance to speak on all this, God willing, soon. But as I said earlier this week,
Okay, so why can't he speak on it now? He says he's going to need a chance to be able to speak on it, and God willing, he'll be able to speak on it soon. Maybe because whoever it is that's controlling him on the strings is telling him, don't say nothing. Say nothing. I mean, it's really not funny, but it is funny.
People, and by the way, my Corvette's in a locked garage. Okay, so it's not like you're sitting out in the street.
Okay, I got to stop it again. His Corvette in a locked garage, not like he parks it out on the street. I mean, are we concerned about his Corvette? Are we concerned about these top secret classified documents that he have? I mean, I'm confused.
People, and by the way, my Corvette's in a locked garage. Okay, so it's not like you're sitting out in the street. But anyway, was in a locked garage. Yes, as well as my Corvette. But as I said earlier this week, people know I take classified documents and classified material seriously.
Apparently, he doesn't. And you know what? Karine, one of the statements I saw Karine Jean-Pierre said that they were misplaced. Are you kidding me? Who has the football? Did he misplace the football? This is disturbing. Did he misplace the football? It's a legit question. If they misplaced top secret documents, who's to say he's not misplacing the nuclear codes? Someone please help me out. It's the football. They call it the football. And whoever has the football is really close to them. You never see the person with the football on camera. You never see him on camera. But somebody, the way I understand it, they have a football. So unless it's been misplaced. I mean, it's really a valid question. Now, Peter Doocy again asked Karine Jean-Pierre about GarageGate. Listen to this.
Thank you, Karine. Another one on GarageGate. What is the White House trying to hide?
Nothing.
Someone gave the president a statement to read on Tuesday that was incomplete at best, misleading at worst.
Disinformation at the most.
Who?
So I have read out the president's statement. I have read it out yesterday and what he said. He said that he respects or he takes classified information and documents very seriously. That's what he said.
But that's not the question Peter Doocy was asking. Peter Doocy was asking the question, who's writing this for him to say the lies? Who's writing it for him? Because when the first set of documents came out, he came out with this whole thing that he take documents serious, the security of them all serious. But the question is, who's writing it? Because whoever's writing it is literally lying. Just say this, Joe. Just say this. This is not good. This is not good at all. Now, listen to this one.
Is the library a room adjacent to the garage?
Again, I don't have any of this information that I can provide. This is under review. I would.
So the library, to my understanding, is the second location, because when they first came out with it, they didn't talk about where the second location was, but I guess it was in his personal library in a cabinet that they shouldn't have been there in the first place. How do you misplace them? Right? You have top security documents. You take them home and you misplace them. What else did he misplace? Wait a minute. Didn't Hunter Biden misplace his laptop? So maybe Joe Biden was hanging out with Hunter. I mean, I'm just asking the question here because he's misplacing stuff. Hunter Biden misplaced his laptop.
I would refer you to the Department of Justice. I'm just not going to go into specifics here. Not something that I can do from here.
And is the president's Corvette stored in the garage where the documents were found? Just for pure fact purposes.
Well, I will basically repeat what the president said. His Corvette is in the garage. I'm not going to go beyond what the president said.
She's not going to go beyond what Biden said.
You think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding. So I'm excited about it.
I mean, dude, you can't make
I'm
this
kidding?
stuff.
I'm not kidding. So I'm excited.
Okay, look, wait a minute. I think if you look close, right up there, I think there's some boxes right there. I think that's the boxes right there with the classified documents. I mean, and okay, look, and there's another thing. When you store classified documents, there's not supposed to be any windows. If you look up there in his garage, you can see windows. There's windows up there in his garage. There's not supposed to be any windows when you have top top secret, high classified documents. There's not supposed to be any windows. And this is it was locked. It was a locked door. I mean, come on, people. You can't make this stuff up. This is so bizarre. I mean, it's so bizarre. You can't make it up. And then you have Karine Jean-Pierre just going on and on trying to protect Joe.
How can you say this was transparent when you've sat on this information for more than 2 months?
Thank you, Karine.
Yeah, you know, they're all big about being transparent. They try to say President Trump wasn't transparent, but they're not being transparent at all. Not at all. They're still trying to cover it up, even though it's all came out. And again, why are they doing this to Joe? Why do you think that they're doing this to Joe? I'm saying that they probably want Joe out because Joe's become a problem. But you still have Karine Jean-Pierre doing her job, trying to protect him, and she can't get away with it, right? And they're asking, what about the transparency, right? Where's the transparency? They're hiding this information. And also the docs, they found the first set of docs in November of last year, November 2nd. Where's the transparency?
Do you acknowledge that the fact that the White House did not reveal this to the public, despite the fact that you've known about it for months, undercuts the president's promise of being transparent with the American people?
But here's the thing: they were transparent. There was transparency in doing what you're supposed to do when these items were discovered.
Wait a minute. The first thing what you're supposed to do is not take them. He was VP. You're not supposed to take them, but he took them. And they're trying to, and there was no transparency because they're still not saying who originally found the docs. They're just saying the lawyers. And I don't believe that. How many of y'all believe that? They've lied about everything else. Why not lie about this? And again, I'm still asking the question, why are they even letting this information out? Really? Why are they letting it out?
They were transparent. There was transparency in doing what you're supposed to do when these items were discovered.
Not with the American people.
Look, I am here standing in front of you answering these questions, right? The president took 2 questions this week on this. You've heard, let me just answer. You've heard from the White House counsel who put out multiple statements on this. And so, again, this is an ongoing process. We want to respect the process, and we have laid out very clearly what occurred. Again, don't want to get ahead of this. The Department of Justice, you all can will get your questions answered from them during this time. And so I would just refer you to the Department of Justice. And now, as you all know, there's a special counsel.
Oh yeah. And now that you know, everyone needs to know that there is now. Not the first time the docs came up, there was no special counsel. Not the second time they found a new batch of documents, but the third time. Okay, now, because this is just too damaging, we have to do a special counsel. And how much do you want to bet that the special counsel that they find is going to be a total leftist? If not a total leftist, a freaking rhino. Might as well go ahead and put Dan Crenshaw in that position, because Dan Crenshaw will come back at and say, you know what, there's nothing here. Y'all need to go after Trump. That's what Dan Crenshaw would say. I'm telling you, Dan Crenshaw would say that. Okay, now here's one. I haven't listened to this one, and this one was with Jim Jordan. So I don't even know what Jim Jordan's going to say in here. So you're going to watch this for the first time with me, because I haven't watched this one. Let's watch it together.
Investigate what the heck happened.
All right, GOP Congressman Jim Jordan chairs the House Judiciary Committee and joins us now. Congressman, man, you have your hands full. It just got fuller. First off, what comes to mind right now is we have a second tranche. We don't know where this stuff was found. We don't know what was in it, but we know the last batch had Ukraine, China, and UK documents in it. What comes to mind for you?
Well, I think a ton of questions, like the basic one. Where's the raid? Where's the pictures? Where's the special counsel? What's a batch? What's that mean? We know it's more than one. So is this 2 documents? Is this 2,000 documents? What's the location? Why was it lawyers doing the moving from the first location? I mean, normally when we move something, you get your relatives together, you buy pizza and you get a truck and you move things. But no, they had lawyers in there packing boxes and looking at things. So I think there are tons of questions. And maybe the most important is, Why did they wait to tell us? You know, and frankly, what's happened since November 2nd until January 10th, January 11th, when we learned this information? So I think there's just tons of questions we have that you know, the press was all over this when it was President Trump. So again, I think the double standard is obvious, and then the tons of questions I think every American has.
Yes, the double standards are ridiculous. And again, for those of you that don't know, the documents that were at Mar-a-Lago, they were transported there by the National Archives. It's not that President Trump took any documents. They put them there. It was a total setup from the get-go. Did y'all know that? And I don't understand why they're not bringing that up even more in the media. It was the National Archives that put him at Mar-a-Lago. They knew what docs he already had before the first time when the FBI showed up. Make it make sense. Someone help me make it make sense. I know it was a setup. So does that mean the National Archives is corrupt as well? So now we have the National Archives, the DOJ, the FBI, the CIA, the whole lot of them. Is there an organization, a government organization today that is not corrupt?
Yeah, some of the questions are, you know, if China's giving money to the University of Pennsylvania, did they have access to this office? Exactly. Were they able to go in there and see what's inside the closet? Why aren't they telling us where the second location is? You know, with Trump, they clearly said Mar-a-Lago. They went and stormed in the doors when he wasn't there to go and knock down his closet or
Melania's closet.
Melania's closet and their son's. And then why is someone leaking this? Do you think they don't want him to run? Steve's saying probably not.
I don't.
Okay. See, now that's the first time I heard anyone say, you know, kind of lean towards that. Why are they leaking this? And I'm asking the same question. Why are they leaking this? I'm telling you, prayers for Joe. They want Joe out. I mean, it's really bad for Joe right now. It's really bad. Have y'all hit the share button yet? It's really bad. Hit the share button.
I mean, we'll have to wait and see. But I do think it's interesting the location. Like, I think there's a broader question: who had access to the Biden Center? Who owns the building? I don't know. We know China money funded a lot of the activities at that Biden Center and financed a lot of it. And we don't even know what the second location is. So who has access to that? Who owns that location? I mean, tons of questions that I think the American people are entitled to have answers to.
Why did it take 6 years? You know, the archives room or committee is telling him, we need these documents, telling Trump that. It's been 6 years. Why weren't they telling Biden, we need you to bring back what you took?
Yeah.
You know what? That's another question that I've been asking. 6 years in the closet at Penn Biden Center. 6 years in the closet. And the National Archives never reached out and said, where are these documents? Like, they didn't know about the documents. So when they're creating, wait a minute. So they were keeping up with all the documents when President Trump was in office. Does that mean that the National Archives was not keeping up with the documents when Obama was in office? Are we to believe that? Because they were keeping up with all the documents because they were saying President Trump has documents. There's documents that are missing. Did they ever question the people that work for the National Archives that transferred the documents from the White House to Mar-a-Lago? What about in transition? Did somebody look at something? Did somebody move something, misplace something in transition? Did they? That's the question, because they keep saying that they're looking for docs, and the President Trump saying, I don't have the docs. Somebody took them. Somebody took them. But they don't ask those questions.
I think that double standard, this is the big concern I hear from so many constituents, is this double standard and the fact that there's no longer equal treatment under the law. And just in this area alone, we know what happened with Secretary Clinton when she had classified documents. We know how they've treated President Trump. And now we see this with President Biden. So, again, that is what so frustrates the American people. It's why we formed this committee to look at the double standard and the unequal application of the law on American citizens. We want to get to the bottom of this and make sure it stops as we go forward.
Right, exactly. And, you know, there are so many questions about, you know, what did Joe Biden know and when did he know it? If the second instance happened before the midterms as well, it looks like a cover-up. But I think you hit the nail on the head as well, Congressman, when you're talking about who had access to these documents.
We don't know who had access to them at the Penn Biden Center, and we don't know. Presumably, this stuff was at Joe Biden's house, which would mean like Hunter Biden would have access to it, and everybody in the family and anybody who visited. But the New York Post is
maybe Hunter Biden was taking some of the security documents and rolling them up and smoking weed in them. I don't know. I'm just asking the question.
Got a story this morning that said before the Penn Biden Center even existed, and this is according to the Hunter Biden laptop from hell, apparently Hunter was talking to his agent at CAA about the upcoming Biden Center with UP, and essentially they were talking about the goals, and one of the plans was wealth creation. That's all it said. Wealth creation without an explanation. So it looks like Hunter was in on this from the very beginning.
Yeah, I mean, again, we don't know, but it wouldn't surprise us, knowing what we have learned thus far about the Biden family business operation. I want to...
The Biden crime business operation. Right? The Biden crime family.
Hit on one point, though. This idea that the Justice Department seems to get involved in all our elections. I mean, one of my colleagues said this in a committee hearing a few months back, and I thought it was so accurate. In 2016, they spy on President Trump's campaign. In 2018, they have the Mueller investigation. 2020, they suppressed the Hunter Biden story. And in 2022, they suppressed this information so that the American people don't have access to it as we're getting ready to decide who's going to be in office in the midterm election. So, again, I think that is why don't you just stay out and let the American people decide who we want in office representing us?
Yeah, and the Twitter files are so revealing, too, about what was going on and what Adam Schiff was doing, decided that Paul Sperry needs to be banned by calling up Twitter.
Scary.
I mean, this is unbelievable what the Democrats had access to the social media platforms. They weren't taking Jim Jordan's calls.
Yeah, right. I wouldn't be calling, but we're going to be looking into all that. This cozy relationship between big tech, big government to keep information from the American people.
Well, you took our call. Thank you very much for appearing today, sir.
Yeah, you know what? That's exactly it. The big tech and big government working hand in hand, trying to cover up all the information that they can to prevent you and I from having free communication with one another in the virtual public square. It's the virtual public square, and they don't want us to have conversation. They want to block everything that we learn. They don't want you, they only want you to know what they want you to know. They don't want you to know the truth, because if the truth goes against their narrative, then there's a big major problem. Go ask one of them, what is a woman? I'm just saying. Now, you know who Senator Kennedy is? Oh man, Senator Kennedy's so spot on. I mean, this is so powerful about what's happening with Joe Biden and these docs. This is very disturbing. It really is. Joe Biden is putting our national security at risk. He's already done it for over 6 years. And before I get to this next one, also at the Penn Biden Center. At the Penn Biden Center, these docs apparently were in this locked, because you know they keep saying that, like Joe Biden said the garage door was locked, the locked garage. They said it was in a locked closet for 6 years. You mean to tell me for 6 years, not a single person went into that closet over a 6-year period? Over a 6-year period, not a single person went into that closet. How is that even possible? Not a single person? How many of y'all actually believe that? Leave me a comment. Now listen to Senator Kennedy.
Well, I just find all of this surreal. It's almost like watching a Quentin Tarantino movie. I suppose my first thought is that all of this is yet one more example of why in Washington, D.C., if it were not for double standards, there wouldn't be any standards at all. I'm not surprised that the Attorney General has appointed a special counsel. I'm not sure he had a choice. The White House has tried, and the White House doesn't have enough hazmat suits to clean up this mess.
You know, see, that's why I love Senator Kennedy, because he'll explain this stuff in such down-to-earth terms. that we all can relate. I mean, it's so nasty, so dirty. They need hazmat suits to go in there. And again, Joe Biden, what he has done with these docs, they have actually put our national security at risk. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Seriously. Where else does he have documents that we don't know about yet? Are we going to get another batch tomorrow?
Aside from the obvious that the Justice Department is investigating President Trump for something that President Biden himself may have done, there are a lot of other intriguing questions for the Inspector General. Number one, was there a cover-up? The powers that be have known about all this since November 2nd. It's now the middle of January. Was there a cover-up? Who was involved? Number two, what's the role of the University of Pennsylvania Biden Center in all of this? The Penn Biden Center is not some normal Ivy League think tank. We now know that it's in Washington, D.C. It was a hangout, a clubhouse for President Biden and his people before they were inaugurated, and allegedly it is funded with tens of millions of dollars from China. What's up with that?
China.
Number three, what's the role of the National Archives in all of this?
You should
the National Archives was scathingly critical of President Trump and his documents. They've known about all this since November 2nd or 3rd. They've been missing in action with respect to President Biden and his documents. You couldn't have found them with a search party. We still haven't heard from them. What's up with that? And I guess my fourth question is, did any member of Congress know about this? I didn't. And if some of my colleagues knew about it, I'd like to know why I didn't.
It would not surprise me if Nancy Pelosi knew about it. It would not surprise me if Jerry Nadler, Adam Kissinger, Liz Cheney, Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Doesn't Lindsey Graham have connections with China? Doesn't Lindsey Graham, his wife, they're like some kind of dealing? You know that Penn Biden Center is going to be under a microscope now. Joe Biden has just brought unwanted attention to them. And come to find out that China, it looks like China had free reign to that. And you mean to tell me after 6 years, no one opened the doors to the closet? No one? Does Joe Biden, is he the only one with the key? If he's the only one, wait a minute. Who had the key? Did the lawyers have the key or did Joe Biden have the key? Because apparently the lawyers didn't have clearance to see these classified documents. Because soon as they recognized what it is, they said they closed it up and called the National Archives. But first they said they called the White House, and then the White House lawyers called the National Archives. But Joe Biden said the lawyers that went there and opened up the door, they called the National Archives. Again, their story is not straight. Just like the hammer time in San Francisco. The story's not straight. And they can't get it straight. And then it's just keep coming out. So how much involvement is China? Joe Biden, if you ask me, Joe Biden has been 100% compromised. Not even just with the Hunter Biden laptop, but just this alone. What else? And again, can we not get a statement from Obama? Obama, where in the world is Obama? Am I the only one asking? I haven't heard, anyone on Fox News or anybody else asking, can we get a statement from Obama because this happened under him? Somebody ask Obama. Obama's not going to take any questions from me because
you ain't black.
Wow. This is crazy. This is what this. I guess this whole garage gate is such an explosive story here, and of course you still have big tech trying to censor as much as possible. Y'all hit that share button for me. Hit that share button. Hit that share button. Help me get past it. You know what? If y'all hit the share button right now, y'all can help me get past the algorithms. Y'all can explode the algorithm. If y'all hit the share button, but you got to get unafraid of hitting that share button. Some people are afraid to hit the share button. I don't know why, because I haven't said anything or shown anything that's inappropriate. I haven't said anything that's inappropriate. I've only talked about what is happening. Hit that share button. Why are you scared to hit the share button? Hit it. You know who you are. Okay, well, here's a topic that everybody should be on board with. And I'm going to change it up now, okay, because I've drilled that donkey into the ground there, and that donkey's still kicking. But anyways, the House, which would have never happened under Nancy Pelosi, just passed in the House not for Biden to continue to send our resources to China. The House just passed it. And they got, I think to my understanding, they got 100 or over 100 Democrats to get on board with it. Because they don't want to go down looking like, well, we're going to give our resources to China when we are hurting here in America. They just voted against it. This would have never happened with Nancy Pelosi. It would have never seen the light of day. Because Democrats probably would have supported it then. But Nancy Pelosi didn't do it because it was going against the narrative of this global one world order takedown. Listen to this.
If you think about the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, just think of the first word in that name, strategic. It's there for America's national security. SPRO, as it's referred to, first of all, raiding SPRO, which President Biden has done over and over and over again, depleting 40% of our national security strategic reserve, not to move world oil prices. As you can see, Mr. Speaker, multiple times, starting in November of 2021, President Biden has raided SPRO because he's attacked American energy. As he attacked American energy, starting on his first day in office, the price of oil and gasoline at the pump subsequently has risen dramatically, crushing middle-class families. So he started feeling the heat. Now, his answer should have been reverse the failed policies that are dramatically increasing gas prices by crushing American energy. But no, that's not what President Biden did, because the extremists on the left don't want that. They won't allow him to do it. So then he turned to SPRO, and he said, well, maybe we can just try to trick the American people by raiding SPRO. So he did.
This is awesome. But it passed in the House with the support of at least 100 Democrats saying no more sending it to China. No more. So you know that China's going to be upset with this. But the interesting thing, Joe Biden has already said that he's not going to sign. He's going to veto any bill. So when it goes to the Senate, you know, the Republicans, they should. I mean, they still have Mitch McConnell over there, but they should support this bill. It goes over to the Senate. If they pass it in the Senate, because if Democrats and Republicans pass it in the Senate, it's going to go to Joe Biden's desk. It's really going to expose how much Joe Biden is helping China. It's going to expose it 100%. It's going to expose it. And that's part of the reason why I think they're releasing all these documents on Joe Biden, to get him out of the way, because he's not helping them. He's not. Now, let me show you something that is absolutely disturbing. If you have a sensitive stomach, you might not want to listen to this next one. There's nothing. Well, there is something I'm going to put on the screen that is a little grotesque, but you should be able to stomach this. What they're saying, you won't, it's pretty, you know, I'm always talking about the world we live in is the demonicness that's happening in the world is growing. It's intensifying because of spiritual battle. And it's no longer a battle between the right and the left. And well, it is. The battle's still there between the right and the left, between good and evil, right? It's still there. That's what it is. It's the battle between good and evil, not just Republicans, red and blue, good and evil, right and left. It's still battle. It's still a battle, right? Listen to what this dude, Jerry Nadler, says, which is 100% demonic. If you don't think that evil spirits exist, and if you think that evil spirits cannot affect the minds of people, You are sadly mistaken. People do evil things because they're influenced by these evil spirits. Now, no one has an excuse saying, well, an evil spirit made me do it. But they're being influenced. Do you understand that? These people are being influenced by evil spirits. You don't believe me? Listen to what he says.
The problem with this bill is not that it makes anything, that it is not that it provides any new protection for infants. The problem with this bill is that it endangers some infants by stating that that infant must immediately be brought to the hospital. Where
you hear this? He's saying, listen to him. I mean, this is so demonic. I'm like, listening to him, like, does he even hear what he's saying? He's being influenced by a demonic spirit. Here is the actual, tangible, physical proof that he is being influenced by a demonic spirit. Listen to, I'm sorry, I had to stop it. Listen to what else he says, because this explains it. And if you are unable to see it, if you're not capable to understand what is happening here, you need to pray and ask for guidance.
Hospital, where, depending on the circumstances, that may be the right thing to do for the health and survival of that infant, or it may not. That is the problem with this bill. It directs and mandates a certain medical care which may not be appropriate, which may be endanger the life of an infant in certain circumstances. That's why we oppose this bill.
Okay, so let's get this straight. What they're really talking about here is that when they have a failed attempt into killing a child, you know, because sometimes when they go to abort a child, the child survives. He's saying, instead of taking the child from the abortion clinic to the hospital to try to preserve and protect and save the life of the child that's out on its own and breathing, he's saying that it would endanger the child's life by taking it to the hospital. You can't make it up. And if you can't understand how demonic this is, you are not connected to what the spirit world is telling you. This is so demonic, and he's being influenced by demonic spirits. Here's another example of that. This is the spiritual realm that we're living in. The spiritual realm and the physical realm are interlinked together. There's no separation between them. You know how they try to convince people and tell you the separation between church and state? That is a total lie. People vote based on their beliefs. And if you say that you don't, you're lying, because beliefs go into what I believe people should be able to do X, Y, Z. It is a belief. Regardless of how you try to sugarcoat it, regardless of how you try to change it. Listen to this. This is demonic demons that are influencing these people. And if you ever wonder what it looked like, you ever seen the movie Exorcist?
As our chairman had said, not only is it illegal to not care for a born infant, but the law that you have provided on the Republican side actually can create more harm.
It's going to create more harm by protecting the child. Make it make sense. I want you to make it make sense. She just literally said it's going to cause more harm by protecting the child. That's what she's saying. That's exactly what she's saying. Go back, listen to it. That's exactly what she's saying.
But the law that you have provided on the Republican side actually can create more harm. It requires immediately taking a struggling baby to a hospital. That hospital could be hours away and could be detrimental to the life of that baby.
So what do they suggest you do with the baby that survives from an abortion? What is she suggesting? I don't care if it's hours away. Fight for that life. What different? I mean, what make that make sense? Someone make it make sense. Make it make sense.
This is nothing more than the part of the effort to make abortion illegal nationally in this country. I object, and I urge a no vote and yield back.
Oh, but you know what? That's the most interesting thing, I object, I urge for a no vote. They're actually debating on the floor. Wow. That's something really new. I forgot that they did that. I thought they just passed bills. You got to pass the bill in order to read what's in the bill. But anyways, how demonic is that? Did y'all understand that? They're literally saying that if the child survives from the abortion attempt, from them trying to kill the child, that you should not take the child to the hospital because it could be life-threatening to the child. You can't make it up. I mean, you really can't. As much as we can say that we like to say they're making it up, you can't make it up because they're actually saying it. And a lot of people try to say, like I mentioned a second ago, how they try to say that the separation between church and state, that is a lie. I don't care. You can convince yourself as much as you want to. That is a lie. Separation between church and state, that's a lie. Because it doesn't happen, because they interject. And to give you another example, these lawmakers are making decisions, biblical decisions for you and I. They're making decisions for you and I. Even in the past, even in the Bible is full of politics, kings and queens. And they were making legislation that would affect believers. God created life. The demonic demons want to take life. They want to take life. They do not cherish life at all. They don't at all. My name is Will Johnson. UniteAmericaFirst.com is my website. Please, if you haven't already, smash that like button and smash the share button. Please share the video. I'm begging you, share the video. It's a reality check.